This one is the best card. Eddie Hearn said it's not the card of the year. It might be the card of the decade. I'll do him one better. It's the card of the century. So it's. I feel like this is the best card ever made in boxing, and I would go as far as even in sports, the best event that has ever been made in sports of such a large attraction and bringing the best of the best together. I think this one is just huge, especially in combat sports. We've never seen anything like it. So.
Hi, this is Aiysha for iBoxingHub. I'm here with Ziyad Almaayouf. Assalamu alaikum. How are you today?
How are you? Everything's good?
كيف حالك?
Alhamdulillah.
I'm trying to learn Arabic, so I'm going to do a bit later on, inshallah, if I go to Saudi. How did you find the press conference today?
It was amazing, to be honest. Next to me was Callum Smith, and I was just telling him, as Dev was announcing one fight after another, just felt like, first of all, it felt like everlasting. The card was everlasting. It's not gonna end, and it felt like it's one world title fight after another. And every single fight Dev was announcing felt like it was a main event. So it was just amazing to be a part of. I was in an Uber earlier, and the Uber asked me, when's your next fight? I told him February 22nd. I said, oh, who's topping the bill? I said, the thing is, you got to take a look and decide for yourself. Too many people to say, but it's Bivol Beterbiev, but could be Parker Dubois, could be Callum Boazzi, could be Shakur and Schoolfield. So it's like a lot of people.
There are so many amazing fights on this card. If you had to pick one that you think is like the most exciting for you to watch, which one would you pick?
The most exciting one would be, I think for me, Bivol Beterbiev. But if we put Bivol Beterbiev aside, I think, oh man, all of them to be honest. But Dubois Parker is going to be a very, very good one. Just to see how that ends up, and then who's next in line, my manager. So, so we will see what happens.
Joseph Parker has done really, really well in his last fights. He has every capability of beating Dubois. Do you think he can do it?
I think Joseph Parker beats Dubois. I was just saying, I just liked how I like the comeback of Joseph Parker with Andy Lee. I really like Andy Lee as a coach. I think he's a great boxing brain, and I just see Buddy McGirt, my trainer, was speaking today, and he said when I was a fighter, and he's a Hall of Fame fighter, and he said when I was a fighter, I never used to worry about the fighters I'm fighting. I always asked who's their trainer, and then I was like, that's a good one. So Andy Lee is a very strong one for me, and his comeback with Joseph Parker. And as a fighter, I just know momentum and activity is key, and they're both coming on strong. I think Joseph Parker is going to take it, more experienced.
With the main card then, the main one, Beterbiev Bivol, there was a split decision last time in terms of who people thought would win. It was a very close fight, could have gone either way. With this next one, do you have a prediction of who you think might take it?
I think Bivol took it last time, and I think Bivol will take it again this time. Just because, in the boxing world, it's a very it's a saying that goes around about the last fight with Bivol and Beterbiev, that we say non-boxers saw that Beterbiev won, but the boxers and the fighters saw that Bivol won. Because you know how the sport is, and maybe that says a lot about judging too. Maybe judges should be former fighters. You never know. You never know.
That's really interesting that's what you found. So again, a massive event. You've done Riyadh season. Talk to us about what it's like and how you think this one might obviously be different because of how many amazing people are on this card.
This one is the best card. Eddie Hearn said it's not the card of the year. It might be the card of the decade. I'll do him one better. It's the card of the century, So it's. I feel like this is the best card ever made in boxing. And I would go as far as even in sports, the best event that has ever been made in sports of such a large attraction and bringing the best of the best together. I think this one is just huge, especially in combat sports. We've never seen anything like it. So I think this one would be a game changer. But what I really like is when people ask, how can this get any better? And every single time anyone has asked me that from the beginning, I used to say, this is only the beginning, this is only the beginning, this is only the beginning. This one, to everybody, this is the pinnacle of boxing. The problem is, to His Excellency, this is the beginning. So we will see bigger and better stuff as well.
Talking about His Excellency Turki Al Sheikh, how has it been working with him, working alongside him, doing these shows? Talk to me a bit about that experience.
I mean, he's taken me under his wing completely. And like I said in the press conference, he's instilled his dream in my dream where he wants to see a Saudi world champion. And he wants to see the first one become the first Saudi world champion. And inshallah, I'll do that. I'm not going to stop until I do that. And if it gets hard, if it gets tough, then I'm not going to stop until I set it up for others after me to do it too as well after I've done it, or even better than I've done it. That's the real reason I'm here. And tonight we see two Saudi fighters on the card, and I just can't wait till we see a whole event of Saudi fighters, like I said. So it's just working with His Excellency has been, to be honest, magical. It's been a dream, unprecedented support, everlasting support. What do you need? You got it. But with that much with that much opportunity comes so much responsibility. If you know anything about my career, none of my fights have been easy. None of my fights have been, the journeyman fights. Every single fight has been a 50-50 fight where I have to showcase to the world that the Saudis aren't here to take part, but to take over.
How do you manage that pressure then? Because you do have that pressure on trying to be the first Saudi world champion.
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
Day to day. Some days I manage it, some days I don't, and that's okay. The best way to deal with that pressure is to know that the days I don't handle the pressure, that's okay, and that leads to the day after where I can handle the pressure.
Obviously, we have Mike Tyson's boxing gym in Riyadh. I've been there. It's a really, really lovely gym. Lots of talent there. Talk to me about the talent that you've seen from young Saudi fighters coming up.
I've seen Saudis of all ages in that gym, from kids who are knees height to, kids who are coming up to turn pro now. We see me and Mo on that card. And then we also saw a third one turn pro in the public workouts of the Usyk Fury fight and the fights that they did after the public workouts. And he also turned pro. So there's a third Saudi too. So the good thing about the Mike Tyson gym is they're not rushing them. The ones who turn pro are ready to turn pro. And they never move them too fast. So take their time. But when one comes out, they have to be good and they have to be ready. So it's... at the end of the day, this is what's really important. This is good because the real ROI on all of this is people to talk about Saudi, people to come visit Saudi and to love Saudi. But the Saudis' ROI, for us, it has to be the ecosystem. And it is the ecosystem of the sport in Saudi where we see more and upcoming talents.
And obviously, we do have a lot of talent that you've said in terms of Saudi fighters, and we're seeing more and more of that. Are you seeing more and more Saudi boxing fans coming through as well? Are you seeing that quite a lot?
Yeah, I always say that my experience is always with the media personnel, and when I'm speaking with them, in my first fight, the questions always used to be like, tell us about the event, tell us about the fighters, who are they and what do they do? But today, when I go back, when I'm fighting and I'm talking to them and I deal with them, they're always asking me, so we saw Dubois was in his camp for 9 weeks. What do you think Dubois is going to do? Or, and then they speak about the fighters who normally people don't speak about. So one could speak about Frank Sanchez. One could speak about Kabayel. Kabayel is, when are we going to see Kabayel back? When are we going to do this? I had a very, very good fight in November. And when I went back for some media in the Usyk Fury 2 fight week, they were asking me about the rematch. They want to see the rematch. Let's do it. Let's see that. Let's see this. So it's just good to see that now they're starting to, cheer on a fighter, be passionate about fighters, and then support some of them, and the passion is really there.
Ziyad, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. All the best on February 22nd, and we look forward to following your journey. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you.